Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. I know it's late, and I apologize for that. We're going as fast as we can here, getting as much stuff done as possible, and it just turns out this is what time it all happens at. Um, so I hope everyone's ready to have just a kick-ass weekend. Let me change some stuff on here so we can get rid of this. Just clean up. Um, I hope everyone's having a you know kick-ass weekend. Got that all planned out. Cars and coffee, all that fun stuff. This weekend, not doing a lot of car events. I'm going to work on the limo. I got a bunch of parts and stuff coming in, so we're gonna take care of this and try and get this thing more roadworthy. And that leads us into the subject of this, and that's A team versus B team. And I learned this a long, long time ago, and I probably have talked about it on live streams before, but I'll reiterate it because it is a real thing. It's something that um, that's really out there, and you'll recognize it when you see it. So I learned this from a gentleman named Roy Hicks, and Roy was absolutely brilliant. He was super cool. He was a guy I worked with at when I worked for film video in Denver, and Roy ran a lot of the repairs for the film cameras and the lenses and all of the stuff there. He took care of a lot of that stuff, and he was absolutely brilliant with it. And Roy taught me a lot of stuff. He taught me a lot of stuff about machining and how to do things correctly. And one of the big things he taught me was A team versus B team. And a lot of us who worked at film video, we still have this mentality because Roy was very influential. A very funny thing, Roy couldn't read or write. Um, he was brilliant, but he couldn't read or write. So when we would get new equipment in, we would do videos of the manual, the service manual, and that was how he learned how to do this stuff. He was very good at it. He worked on the Tomahawk missile project. I mean, he did a lot of really really cool stuff. So really awesome guy. I haven't spoken to him in years and years and years. I don't know if he's still with us, but he was a great guy, and I learned a ton from him. Really really cool. So there's A team versus B team, and what you have with A team is well, and here's the other thing: you need the B team as well. Not everybody can be A team all the time. I've done A team work and I've done B team work, and there's differences where they should go, where that level of work should go. So A team is what you want when you're trying to be reliable and trying to be as perfect, as close to perfect as possible, and you want it to look good and work good and sound good and hear good and smell good and all of that. That's A team work. When you're doing B team work, it doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to smell good. It barely has to work. And usually it's going to be very temporary. So B team comes in, like when you're building something like this, I need A team stuff on this because I need it to be reliable. I need it to start every time. I want everything to work correctly, and I want it to last. I want it to be a quality job. Half-assing it was another way to say B team. And when this car was originally built, it was built for a music video. They needed to drive it 100 feet. That's it. It didn't need to drive to, Miami and back. It needed to drive 100 feet, and that's it. That's all they were using it for. So they did B team work underneath the car, the drivetrain, the exhaust, the plumbing for the hot tub, all that stuff was B team work because they didn't need to do A team work. They could have, but I'm sure they weren't paid to do that. A team work is obviously more expensive because it's more time consuming, and you're going to have better people on the project. So that's where one of the differences is. B team is okay when you are, in certain situations. If you're in the middle of a firefight in Kandahar, and you need to get a control arm back up on your Marauder or your MRAP or whatever you have, yeah, you can use duct tape, you can use zip ties, you can use a bolt from, the blown up tank over there. Yes, that's fine. You can go B team. If you're in the middle of a race and you need to finish, you need a bolt off of, an F-150 that goes on your race car, fine. That's fine. That's B team work, but that's okay. When you do B team not in those situations, that's when you don't really want it. Like in this situation, they had time to do A team stuff. They probably just didn't have the money to do it. So they did sort of B team stuff. And that's okay because I like to be on the A team. Now, here's the difference: A team obviously takes longer. And when you're doing it correctly, and you usually have to undo stuff that's been done by the B team because it's glued or welded poorly or whatever. So you have to go back and redo it. So you're kind of doing it a second time, or even worse, doing it twice. So that's the difference between A team and B team. So um, I was trying to think of a better example, but I'll show you guys because I have the trunk open here. We have the water storage tanks out, and the rack that they made for the water storage tanks is kind of B team. It's just 2x4s. They could have actually done a nice aluminum rack that held the tanks in place and, offset them height wise and then contained them on, just done an L bracket at the bottom, whatever. They could have done it a little bit nicer, but they just took some 2x4s and a chop saw and they made this little mounting brace and they just glued the tanks to it. Quick, easy, cheap. That's not the way you really want to do this. So again, they're doing it for looks. They're not doing it for actually working or longevity or reliability or anything like that. They need it for 100 feet. So that's the difference. If you don't have B team work, then you don't have A team work because you don't have something to aspire to or something to move up to. It's like a job, a performance review at your job. They're never going to give you 5 stars. Even the CEO doesn't get 5 stars. There's always something they can do better. So there's always room for improvement. And that's why we have the B team. We have that room for improvement to go up to the A team. So that's why it's okay to have the B team. And it's okay to have B team stuff, like I said. If you're in the middle of a firefight, if you're in the middle of a race, if you're in the next round of eliminations and you don't have a blower drive belt, okay, you can use zip ties to hold your blower drive belt together for the next pass. Hopefully it holds. It's not going to hold, but hopefully it does. But stuff like that where there's a dire need and you have very limited time or you're under an incredible amount of pressure or an extremely low budget, then go ahead and do B team work. Get it done, get it operating, get it out. And that's okay. I'm not faulting any of the B team stuff, but if you have the opportunity to go A team, that's where you can fault the B team stuff. So just real quick, I'll show you guys some differences between B team and A team. So I'm going to grab a light. Hopefully this light has power. It died on me earlier. Where the hell did it go? I already have it out. Oh, I do have it out. Because I'll show you guys this first. I love steel cars. Everything sticks to them, magnetic wise. I'll show you guys something cool. And this just arrived tonight. I hope this isn't the one that vibrates. It's not. We'll recycle that in a second. What does it say? It says MIC, so that's kind of reassuring. But, oh, look at that. Foam. So we have, oh, and there's instructions too. I'll just leave the instructions in there along with the wiring. We have a fuel gauge and it's in white. Pretty cool. So now we're going to be able to tell, and this is just, I think I've showed you guys how these install. So this goes in a 52 millimeter hole, about 2 inches, approximately 2 inches. This goes on the back, and this is the tightening ring, and it clamps it into place like that. You have wiring here, and then on the button on the back, you have different modes, which measures resistance off of the fuel level sender in the car. Now, in this car, of course, there's no specs for it. I have no clue. Is it 80? Is it 100? Is it 340? I have no clue. And trying to find that stuff, nobody ever digs into these cars, so nobody knows shit. So we have a fuel gauge. We're going to run the fuel gauge up there. This is one of those things. This is the difference between A team and B team. B team doesn't care about a fuel gauge because they only need to run the car 100 feet. Since I'm going to be driving the car around all over Florida, I need a fuel gauge. I need to know when I'm going to run out of gas. So got a fuel gauge. Now I just got to figure out how to wire it up. So that's going to be one of our fun ones. Because they cut out so much wiring out of this car, I don't know what's left. So give me a second. I will bring you guys around here, and I'll show you another A team, B team thing. And again, it's kind of hard to fault the limo because this was built for a very specific purpose. So we'll see. Oh, hey, Liz. Hey, Brian. Now, Brian knows about B team and Brian knows about A team because Brian races in Lemons with us. So he knows that when the days before, sorry, I got to find a spot for you guys. Let me tilt this up a little bit. The days before a Lemons race, oh, that is a sharp edge. The days before a Lemons race, you do all of the A team stuff possible for your car. You do everything perfect. Torque bolts, check fittings, leak checks, measure fluids down to the milliliter, all of that. You do all of the A team stuff. When you get to the track, you're in the middle of the race, you're 4 hours in, and your water pump eats itself. Now it's time to go B team. You send the guy out to go get a water pump. They, of course, don't have the gasket for it. Now you have to figure out how to do a gasket. You are going around the paddock asking anyone if they have any gasket material. They don't. So then you start looking at like very thin cardboard and poster board and street signs and all the stuff to make a gasket. That's when you can do B team stuff because you're trying to get that car back out on track to get more laps. So that's where B team comes in. But you don't do B team beforehand. You don't do like, oh, well, shit, that's good enough. You're always doing A team beforehand. Then when you're at the track and you're in the middle of whatever battle you're in, then you're like, all right, B team. Hopefully they have the gasket and hopefully you can do A team stuff. But more than likely, you're going to be like, all right, well, they don't have any 12 millimeter bolts, so we're going to have to helicoil this and whatever, right? So, yeah, Brian, you know what I'm talking about. You know that you want the car to be 1,000% perfect every time you go to the track. It starts, runs, stays at 195 all day, 50 miles to the gallon, brakes never fade. Perfect. That's what we all want. What happens though, what the reality is, not TV reality, but reality, the reality is we're going to have a pad shatter in turn 3, and then we have to go get new brake pads. Well, they don't have it for your specific model, or they only have, commuter brake pads. They don't have race brake pads or anything high quality. So you have to do like the CarQuest super basic pads and hope that they work. And they don't have the notch cut out, or they have the squealer on them and you don't need that. So you cut that off, and whatever it is, there's, you're making the adaptations necessary to make it quick to get out there. And that's a lot of what B team is. It's either, cutting corners or going for speed versus actually getting it 100% dead on Koenigsegg correct, Uh, even if you're tracking a Zonda, believe it or not, there's guys out there that are going to do B team stuff. When you start getting huge money, F1 and Le Mans stuff like that, very little B team stuff. They have backups for their backups that have backups. I mean, the government is jealous of how many backups they have. So they not only have backup parts, they have backup personnel and backup money and backup everything. So that's when you're going to see very little A team stuff. When you're doing grassroots motorsports, so NASA, SCCA, Lemons, all of that stuff, when you're doing grassroots, you're going to see a lot of, uh, you won't see a lot, you'll see a lot of A team stuff day one, see a lot of B team stuff day two. Or in the middle of the night, guys are like, no, just get me a, I don't need a grade 8 bolt, just get me a grade 5 or a zinc, whatever. They'll go B team. So when you're building stuff, whether you're building a custom car like this or a race car or huge 4x4, whatever you're doing, have that thought in the back of your head. Am I doing A team work? Am I doing B team work? And if you keep that train of thought, I want to make this A team, I want to make this A team, I want to make this the best, that will stick and that will show in your work. If you're doing it, I don't give a shit, this will just go together, whatever. 14 gauge is fine for this. No, lots of guys run, uh, starter, 20 gauge wire for starter cable. No, they don't, but it would probably work once and then it'll catch on fire. But it's stuff like that. Once you get in the mindset of, I always want to have A team stuff, I want to have it, looking the best and working the best and ease of operations and clean install, then you'll continue that throughout the project. You're like, well, everything else is everything else is A team, so I want the rest of this car to be A team. And it's the same thing. It actually, for me, it goes back to one of the things I had, which was very funny, was when I was building the Viper truck. I was doing stuff to the truck, and I'm the first guy to do AN fittings for the water pump. Even Dodge hadn't done that before, and I figured out a way to do it using hydraulic fittings. So sometimes you got to think out of the box like that. But the problem was I did one AN fitting, and then you get scope creep. Now I have this A team AN line for the water pump system. Now I need to do that line. Now I need to do this line. Now I need to do that. And all of a sudden you have $6,000 in AN fittings and hose in this engine bay. Yeah, but it's all A team stuff. It looks beautiful. They were the black with red fittings and the black nylon hose. It all looked absolutely fantastic, and none of it leaked, and it worked really, really well. Even Dodge was impressed when they saw that. They're like, how the hell did you do AN fittings from the water pump? Well, you think outside the box a little bit and you get the results. I got hydraulic fittings that got drilled out, and there you go. Hydraulic usually uses a very small hose, extremely high pressure. So when you have those fittings, you can drill those out. And there you go. And then you can use them for lower pressure stuff. And it works great. So I'll swing you guys around here. I want to show you B team relay panel install. Now, when they originally did this, they had a separate water pump, a separate air compressor, and it wasn't done very well. Like I said, it was done in probably a weekend. And when I show you this relay panel, you're going to be like, oh my God. But you'll understand, it works and fine, whatever. This is going to be considerably different. So when we redo it all, it's going to be a lot different. So let me, I got to raise you guys up. I'm going to raise you guys up a little bit too. It should help with the view. I'll try and do a cool camera move here without launching everything all over the shop. So there we go. And there we go. So okay, I'm just making sure I'm not missing people here. This is the relay panel that was provided. And you can see the space where the tanks go. If you notice my masking tape here is where the tanks go. That means we can't put any other equipment in this area. So our battery is over there. We have a whole massive jumble of wires over here. A lot of it is for, this is the door popper system, and a lot of this will get cleaned up. This is the old door popper system, and that one's dead, so he can go. These are the different relays, and this is just on a 5/8 piece of plywood. So, I mean, if I can show you guys the back, that shit is B-Team. I can't explain B-Team any better than that. I don't know what happened here with this. Was they were drilling holes in something and using this as a stopper. I don't know what was going on. They have some labels back here for the labels up front for some of the relays, and then a couple of the relays are actually not even on the board. So we have a very small fuse panel, and then we have relays. This one says for the air compressor and the water pump. This one doesn't say what it is. There's X, XX, Z, ZZ. These have been folded over so many times, the insulation's gone. This is S1, no idea what that is. A lot of this stuff is not, oh no, S1 is, no, the fuses are, number 8 is for the door solenoids. So I think this is for solenoid 1, which is for this. No clue what this guy is. So all of this stuff is kind of B-Team. It does get the job done. It does work. In a pinch, you can do this. It's super cheap. It's like $1 in plywood and probably half an hour to make this panel. The relays probably came with the equipment. If not, it's probably $50 in relays and a fuse block. So what are we going to do to take our B-Team work and make it A-Team? I'll show you. Of course, I didn't put it anywhere nearby. So all of this stuff is now going to be in this box. And I haven't even opened this up yet because I just got it yesterday. And I actually don't know even how to open it up. It's not taped. Okay, there we go. It's just a very tight fit. So I'll bring this close for you guys. And I don't know what is, oh, one of the fuses. Oh, the spare fuses. So there's spare fuses in the lid, if you guys can see that. There you go. And then a couple of those popped out in shipping. These are just ATC minis. Oh, come on. Pop out of there. Green goes with green. And red goes with red. And hopefully you guys are as OCD with me as I am. And all of the numbers face the same way. That's just me being weird. So this panel holds 6 relays and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fuses. So we have all of our wiring input here and all of our wiring out right there. So, you know, we have a common, all of this stuff really cleans up. I mean, just in comparison, I could actually add 2 of these to here. That's how small this is. And 1, 4, and 8, and 9. A couple of these we're not going to be using, so I'm going to have enough relays to run the stuff that I need to run in the trunk here for the switching systems for the battery isolators and the power inverter. And what else do I have back here? The this guy, which is going to be our license plate. He drops the license plate, so the license plate is like this. It goes. Then when you're driving, the cops can see it. And then when you're done, you turn off the key. It hides the plate behind the roll pan. Yeah, Brian, you can use these. This is about 35 bucks, and there's different versions of this. This one, you do the wiring. The other ones, they have pre-wired that come out of the back, but they're a little bit thicker than this. I wanted something a little slimmer, and since the wiring in this is all pretty much custom, there's very little OEM wiring left in here. So since that, I'm going to use these terminals versus an OEM wiring setup. But there are boxes on Amazon that are, 30 to 50 bucks with 6 or 8 relays in them and, 10 or 12 fuses that have the pre-wired, and that makes it a lot easier. There's 3 screws here. So we can do either another wood plate, which I don't know, uh, I'll probably do a wood plate just because I don't know. I think I'll probably do an aluminum plate, and I'll do it a little bit bigger than this. So if I want to add something on there, I can. Like we'll add on this. So this is probably going to be the size of the plate. It'll probably be 12 by 12, and we'll keep it very simple. It can mount anywhere in here, up to the trunk supports or up against the back wall. I've got a bunch of room here versus this big wall. So this is the difference between A team and B team. B team, A team. And it's about 35 bucks. These relays are standard Bosch 85s. There's nothing to we got 40 amps. Yeah, they're all 40 amp relays. These are 85, 87. So I mean, they're very, very standard normal relays. They do have higher powered ones and lower powered ones, but this will cover pretty much everything that I'm going to be doing with this car. So it's a great way to go. And also you can double down, you get a second one, you get 12 relays, you get another 6 fuses. Or if you just need more fuses for stuff in the back, you can just get a fuse panel and then wire the fuse panel into this guy. So it's a little bit better. It's definitely more modern. Okay, those guys don't want to stay in there. Maybe I didn't see them in there correctly. I thought they were all the way down. Let me try again. Okay, so now I guess I didn't push them all the way down far enough. No. So it goes like this. Oh, because we have our big ass ground wire there. Or actually, that's our big positive. Oh yeah, here's our ins and then our outs. There's, I don't know where our ground is. Oh, our ground right there. Okay. So that's it. That's our A-team stuff. I'm going to leave this out of here for now because what's going to happen is all this stuff is going to get torn out. So we'll literally have 4 wires in here and the wires for the solenoids. That's it. Everything from this board will get torn out. And so we'll have 2 wires coming from the front, 2 wires coming from the front, 2 wires coming from that battery, which are temporary because we'll have a battery over here. That will be it. All the rest of this jumble, all these spade connectors that we're kind of half using for the door poppers. My friend Chris wired this in about 5 minutes, which was super cool. He's like, this is a disaster back here. And Chris is like, I got it. And he got while we were doing the door cards, taking those on and off, Chris got this wired up and they work great. So props to Chris for tackling this huge mess. But now it's going to go away. And you can also tell, if you want to know the difference between A-team and B-team wiring, you can just look at stuff like this. And you see the electrical tape through here. Now, I'm going to bet you this is probably a spade connector like this with electrical tape over it. That's B-team. If you're really good, you will splice it. You'll tie them together. You will solder them. and then you'll heat shrink it. You won't have a whole shit ton of electrical tape over it. So that's the difference between B team and A team. There's It's so easy to do B team stuff and it's so quick, but it sucks when you're coming in to work on something or coming into, do an upgraded project like this and, you know, you're like, I'm stuck with all this garbage, all this crap. Like, I don't want to do any of this because they've made such a huge mess. But once you get it done, once everything gets cleaned up in here and, the trunk gets truck bed linered and everything, it'll be much, much, much nicer. And it'll be so much easier to resolve any issues because, that new box, everything will be labeled. There'll be a label on the side that tells you what everything does. So it's very quick. Oh, the door solenoid fuse blew. Okay, there you go. Just replace that fuse. Whatever it is, it'll be quick and easy. Versus this, I don't know what X is. I don't know what ZZ is. Actually, I know ZZ is the relay for. ZZ is the relay for. I think it's the relay we're using for the door poppers because this one is dead. Or no, we're using this relay for our door poppers. This was the relay for that. So this is the one we're using. Anyway, it's a mess, huge mess. And it was unmounted. This was just flopping around. The only thing preventing it from falling over were the tanks. So it was not, there's no actual mount holes or anything here. So this thing was just kind of leaning up against the inside wall here. Not exactly, not exactly A-team work. Gravity is not part of A-team work. So that's the difference. And if you're wondering about it, if you're wondering if the work you're doing is A-team or B-team, just ask yourself, is there a better way to do that? Or, hop online, look at pictures of professionally built cars. How is their wiring? How is their plumbing? When they do their suspension, how do they run their, ABS cable, or how do they run, if they're running two batteries, how do they do that? And you can filter through that. Now, filtering through those pictures, you're going to see some very B-team shit, but you'll be able to see the A-team stuff right away. And you'll be like, oh, that's super clean. The guy says it's worked for 11 years. That's the way I want to do it. And then you're going to see some, serious backwoods shit that you're just like, nope, not doing, zip ties along the coilover spring for my ABS cable. Sorry. There's stuff like that, but you can look and also don't be afraid to ask someone, hey, what do you guys think of this? Is this a clean install? Is this not a clean install? You can ask. People are usually pretty cool about that. So I'm going to bring you guys back over here. And I'll bring you back up to, sorry. There we go. Oh, that's a little different view. Oh, that's better because now I can see you guys and I can read stuff too. And I'll drop it down as well. There we go. Better. So yeah, that's it for A-team versus B-team. Still no Rockstar sponsorship. Look at the side of this car. Look how long this is. Rockstar. They're a huge logo. And yes, the garage door is actually unclipped and resting on there. That's just for rain and mosquitoes. So yeah. And yeah, this is one of those things. You have a choice on what you want to do, A-team work or B-team work. Whatever you want to do. And again, it does depend on the situation. So if you're in the middle of a race, B-team's okay, but try to go back to A-team when you're done with the race, when you go back to your shop or when you're going to work on the car. If you have the time, if you're doing a custom build like this, always start off with A-team. Always. And just keep that mindset. It really helps. Because every time you do something, you're going to be like, well, the suspension looked really nice. We should probably do, the brakes just as nice to match the suspension. It'll become addicting, and it'll be one of those things you just keep doing A-Team stuff. So keep on it, and then it'll just snowball into more and more A-Team stuff. So watching a palmetto bug, like they half fly and half run. It's weird. And then he's trying to go to the light. He's going to go up into the light and probably die up there, and I'll have to clean him out. So anyway, that's it. I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. I know it's super late, and we'll try and do some normal hour stuff this weekend, especially with the fuel gauge. I want to take you guys under the car and show you how fuel gauges work and resistance and all of that. I might cheat a little bit and test wires before I go to hook it up, just so I don't waste your guys' time. Just to make sure I'm not trying to get resistance off power wires for an in-tank fuel pump. That would be it would be funny to watch, but no, we don't want that. So I'll do some checking beforehand, but I'll take you guys down so we actually do it together. I just want to make sure it's the right thing. Everything is hidden up there. The gas tank is all the way against the body. There's no way for me to look. I tried taking a picture earlier. It doesn't work. There's no way to view that. All I have are two hoses, send and return from the fuel pump. So I don't really want to drop the tank, but we may have to. It does not feel very full, but it is a huge tank. It's like a 25-gallon tank, 26-gallon tank. So hopefully it's mostly empty if we do drop it. And I'll show you guys how to drop a gas tank, which is, it's a pain in the ass, but sometimes it's really necessary. And it's incredibly gratifying when it goes back up, because it's a very large piece of gear and you don't have to line up a whole bunch of bolts and clock things. You basically just have two straps, and once they reach, you just bolt it up. So it's quick and easy to do. It's kind of scary when you're trying to balance it and all this stuff. You don't want to dump it or rip out fuel lines or anything. So a gas tank is not usually a fun thing, but it's necessary sometimes. So if we have to, we'll drop that tomorrow. I'll definitely be back here. I want you guys to see the fuel gauge. I'm also going to try and get my neighbor's 5-gallon gas tank. And so when we fill, I'll use my 5-gallon and his, put 10 gallons in it. It should go from empty to half a tank with putting that in there. So I'll get some stuff so I don't have to come back later on and show you how the gas gauge goes up. But it does. It works off resistance. It's very simple, and hopefully we can get that guy working correctly so we know how much gas is in here. So I'm doing a gauge pod that has. I ordered a couple of gauge pods that will have the air pressure, the pressure gauge for the air ride system, and it'll have a switch mount for that to power that on and off. It'll have the fuel gauge. It'll have a oil pressure gauge, and it'll have some other stuff, and it's magnetic, so it can just mount up on the hot tub frame or somewhere on the dash. It'll be able to just mount up there, and it'll stay out of the way, but something I can look at and check real quick. So I'll show you guys that too. It's, again, totally temporary until we get a more permanent solution. For $10, I'll do a gauge pod. It's fine. So yeah, that's it for tonight. And thank you guys very much. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, let me know. If you want to, text me pictures. Is this A team? Is this B team? You're welcome to do that too. I'll let you know. At least I'll do my best. If you're working outside of my normal realm, if you're building rockets, I don't know the difference between A team and B team. It all looks like A team to me. But I'll try and help out, or at least send you in the direction of, check out these guys, check out, what this builder does. Yeah. So I guess that's it for tonight. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff tomorrow. It's super late. It's 1 a.m. here. So Thanks again, everyone, for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all the new subscribers. You guys are great. I love seeing the notes from YouTube that say, "Hey, there's a new subscriber." All this. So thank you guys for recommending my channel to other people. I really appreciate it, and feel free to keep doing it. Like I said, I don't get paid for any of this stuff. I'm doing this for you guys, and I love teaching. So cool. Thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. Don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek, give them a kiss on the tip of their nose, hold their hand, give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. I will see you guys later. Everyone have a good night. All right, let's turn off the light. We don't need this. There we go. All right. Thanks, everyone. Damn, that's a big car.